talk about careers. For those of you I haven't yet had the chance to meet, I'm Dr. Geneva, and after raising $100 million in the nonprofit world and leading major organizations, and then completely reinventing my career after 50, I'm here to share what really works in today's really rapidly changing workplace. And this has been a question that I've gotten from so many of you. So I said, well, let's just jump into this topic. And you know what fascinates me about all of this is there's so much conversation about AI, artificial intelligence, when we talk about the future of work. And with all that concentration, I just want you to know that you're probably missing the biggest opportunity of 2025, especially if you're over 50. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So I want you first to imagine waking up in 2025 and realizing your career just got better. Not because you worked harder, but because you played smarter. And here's what most people over 50 don't realize. While everyone's talking about the future of work, they're missing the biggest opportunity of 2025 and beyond. Because you see, 54% of successful entrepreneurs are over 50, and professionals aged 55 to 64 are twice as likely to succeed in business as those under 35. Mhm. And so, why are 75% of us or more still facing age discrimination? Well, ageism be getting in the way. Well, one of the reasons is because we're playing by yesterday's rules and we don't realize the changes that are happening in the trends. Because here's the reality: half of all workers will need to reskill, level up, upgrade their skills to stay competitive in the coming years. But if you're over 50, you have a secret advantage that most people don't see coming. And so today, you heard me now, I'm talking that secret, okay? But today we're breaking down 4 massive career shifts that are happening now. But more importantly, I want to show you how to use them to your advantage in ways that younger professionals simply can't. And so by the end of this conversation, you're going to learn the exact reskilling strategy that's working for professionals over 50. And I'm not talking about an overwhelming tech heavy approach that perhaps everybody else is pushing. No, I'm going to talk about some different things. And you'll learn how to reposition your experience to command higher salaries in today's skills-based market, and some of the proven tactics to stay visible and valued in the hybrid workspaces, as well as how to negotiate the work-life balance you deserve without sacrificing your career growth. Plus, I want you to stick around to the end because I've got a surprise bonus trend. That's right, 5 of them instead of the 4. Okay, but it's a bonus trend. It's a surprise one that's perfect for anyone who's dreamed of being their own boss. This one's a game changer and one that I really use myself. Yes, Dr. Pierre and Dr. Pierre, yes, these stats are real, aren't they? Because they do encourage us to say that 30, is not, it's not too late to reach success. Yes, thank you for that. So, if you're ready to hear about what I got to drop on you, and ready to take control of your career instead of letting the job market decide your future. You be in charge. I want you to drop a ready. Say, I'm ready. READY in the comments. Okay. So let's dive in. Now, trend number one is the one skill shift that could make or break your career in the next 5 years. And that trend is reskilling is no longer optional. It just isn't. And really getting into lifelong learning. Say that fast 3 times. Lifelong learning. That really is the new insurance for your career. You know what keeps most professionals over 50 awake at night? It's not that AI, artificial intelligence, is coming. It's the fear that they've waited too long to adapt or get to use it. But here's what most people don't know: the most successful professionals over 50 aren't the ones with the most tech skills. The most successful professionals over 50 are the ones who know which tools actually matter. Okay? So here's the truth: AI and automation aren't really replacing all the jobs, they're really upgrading them. The highest paid professionals now, they're not the tech wizards. They're really the experience rich professionals who added just the right digital tools to their toolbox. Mhm. And here's the game changer: this stat right now, professionals who understand even basic AI tools are earning 25% more than their peers. Mhm. That's real. I think about Craig, who was an accountant that I know in his 60s, and he doesn't code, he doesn't do complex tech, but he decided to learn and use basic AI tools for data entry. And so he ended up freeing up about 15 hours every week. And so, of course, what he did with that time, he used it to build deeper client relationships and was able to double his client base. Or my friend Jacqueline, who's a former teacher, and she uses Chat GPT to draft lesson plans in 10 minutes that used to take her 2 hours. But she's not replacing her teaching skills. She's expanding them, amplifying them. And so here's how you can make this trend of the reskilling, the need to upskill, up level your skills. Here's what you can do to make it work for you. First of all, I want you to start small to win big. So let me ask you, if you've ever used Grammarly to check an email, guess what? You're already using AI. The key isn't to becoming a tech expert. It's finding the one tool that can make your current job easier. I remember I started out in my career doing a lot of writing. I was an English major and I loved to write, and I was blogging. And I started out using uh, Grammarly and Quillbot. And I got to know those AI tools really well. And it helped in my writing. I did the writing, but the spell check and the punctuation and those kinds of things were important. So, how you make this work for you is that when you combine your experience plus a tech tool, and it only need to be one, you're really unbeatable. because your decades of expertise in reading people or solving problems and making decisions, that's your superpower. And you just add a digital tool to that mix, and you've got something that no 25-year older can match. Okay. And so I want you to begin where you are. You want to start this week? Here's what you can do. If you're in sales, start with a CRM, customer relations management tool, like HubSpot's free version. Or if you're in professional services, you can try Grammarly or Chat GPT or Quillbot for client communications. If you're in management, look at Slack or Asana for team coordination. If you got a YouTube channel or you want to start one, use vidIQ or TubeBuddy. Just get one tool to help make what you're doing now easier, more efficient, more productive. You know, so I want you to drop a yes in the comments if you're already using AI, whether it's Alexa or Siri or just spell check. you know, you're already using AI. Drop a yes in the comments if you are. And see, so you're already using AI. See, I see the yeses that are coming in. You're already using AI, and that proves my point because and the point is you're already more tech savvy than you think. You're not starting from zero. And again, that's what happens. That's what's some of the golden stuff about us being in midlife. You're building on years, and you're also using how you've gone through stuff built on years of adapting to change. Um, Oh, yeah. So Private Chair Lady on TikTok, she's checking out Quillbot now. Go ahead. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, indeed. Check it out. And with these AI tools, they always let you use the free version. Usually, you can use the free version. Oh, I'm sorry. You were on TikTok. Were you on TikTok or IG? I think Private Lady was on IG. Thank you so much. On IG. That's an IG comment coming in here. Yes, IG. Thank you so much. Try it. Check it out. Quillbot. I love it. And it has just expanded so much since I first started using it. There's so many different things that it can do these days. But you understand my point, right? And I know, yes, we use it in so many realms. We don't know how we it really can incorporate it. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, because those of us over 50 were constantly hearing about tech and AI and these tools. We already using them. I want you to pull out something that you can use right now. And I know sometimes this can feel overwhelming. It's a lot. And I want you to know that because you're joining me today, I've got a gift for you. No sign up. You don't have to sign up. It's just something you can go grab. It's 11 future ready career moves for 50 plus professionals. It's a checklist. And I break down exactly the kinds of skills that matter for your particular situation or the things you want to do. And so I'll share that link later. But first, I want to talk about trend number 2, because knowing that you need these new skills, that's great. But if you don't know how to showcase them in the right ways, you're still leaving money on the table. And that brings us to career trend number 2, which is skill-based hiring is replacing the titles. Okay. And your experience is an asset, but only if you frame it right. Okay. So you know that feeling when someone half your age gets promoted ahead of you, or you walk into a room full of people and all the players and the so-called power movers seem to be so much younger than you. But let me tell you what's actually happening behind the scenes. Companies aren't hiring based on the years anymore. They're lots of them or little of them. They're really hiring based on impact. And that's great news for us, those of us who are over 50 in our midlife. Here's what's changing: 57% of companies have really thrown out the degree requirements. I mean, they really aren't looking at those. They're not looking at the fancy titles. They want problem solvers. And get this, the skills that companies are desperate for, you've been building them for decades. You have the problem solving, the communication, the leadership, the adaptability, the resilience, the emotional intelligence. Okay. But here's what where most of us get tripped up on. We list our jobs like a history book, you know, 20 years as a senior manager. Okay. And we can assume that people can connect the dots of our experience, and we hide our best achievements, the things that, really are cool, behind these modest job descriptions. I want you to flip the script on that, and let me show you how. First of all, your soft skills are your secret weapon. And more companies are craving that, yearning for the soft skills. And, even though a 25-year older might know every tech tool, you know which problems actually need solving. And so you've navigated office politics, you've built teams, and you've handled crises. And the judgment that you have, that intuition, that's worth gold in 2025. Okay. So instead of listing your jobs like a history, I want you to start showing impact. So instead of saying, or on your resume, I've managed a team for 10 to 15 years, say, I built and led teams that increased productivity by 40% during 3 major market turndowns. First of all, it's the truth, but you see how repositioning and reframing it really puts forth the impact rather than the years. And I want you to deal with, I want you to figure out the stories that sell about your experience. One of the leaders that I worked with, she's in her mid 50s, mid to late 50s. She's a project manager. Oh my gosh, she's just managed so many great projects. And she landed her dream job because we worked on, instead of her saying, I managed projects, she would say things like, I rescued 3 failing projects by rebuilding team trust. Instead of saying, well, I work with clients, I showed her how to say that she retained 95% of her clients during budget cuts. You see, she didn't hide her age, she leveraged it. And so that's what I want you to do. And so I want you to think about your biggest work achievement and drop a yes in the comments if you've ever downplayed it on your resume. Okay? Because what I want you to do is to really leverage that biggest achievement, not in terms of the amount of time or the years, but the impact that you've had, the difference that you made, the influence. And again, that's why I put together this future proof, future ready career moves for those of us who are in our midlife. It's a checklist so that you can, in fact, transform your experience. But before we get to that, I want to talk about trend number 3, because in today's hybrid workplace, being good at your job isn't enough. You need to be seen being good at your job. Yes, Dr. Pierre, that's right. You need to be seen. So, trend number 3, hybrid work is the new normal. And we got to get used to that. We got to, oh, those of us over 50 now, it's the new normal. And it's not just trends. So, the hybrid or remote work, they're really here. They're the future. And it's interesting. I had a friend of mine who, complained to me, told me that he was the best analyst in his organization, in his department for years, 20 years or so. But when the hybrid change came, the combination of work at home, coming to the office, he got, passed over for this promotion. And so I asked him why, and he said his boss told him that he just didn't see his impact anymore. So even though the organization shifted and you got to do some at-home work, which many of us want and we like that, particularly if you're in a hybrid situation or if everything's remote, you still got to be seen. Your impact has got to be seen. And a lot of companies are sticking with this hybrid work. And many of us over 50 want these flexible flexible options, but here's the kicker. 82% of promotions still go to people with the most face time. So people don't see you one way or another, you ain't gonna get ahead. So here's how to win at that hybrid and remote game. So you make your presence strategic. You don't just show up, you show up smart. You pick your in-office days based on when the decision makers are there. Don't pick your days to go in when nobody, you may go in and say, "Ooh, this place is vacant. I can get a lot of work done." No, that's not the thing. If you're looking for advancement in your career, those career moves, you want to be in the office when the decision makers are there. Okay. And you want to also schedule any presentations that you have to make for those in-person days. Don't do everything virtually. Now, I'm going to talk about virtual in a minute, but think about the opportunity that you have for in person when you're actually right there in people's face and giving a presentation. Okay. And so I want you to save your deep focus days for the home days when you're at home. The other thing that you need to do to make these great moves in this hybrid trend environment, remote work, combination of work at home, work in the office, is you got to master that virtual stage. Remember how we used to own the conference room? And those of us who are over 50s, particularly baby boomers, we can own it because we always are, on stage riding that white horse, that charge, and solving problems, conquering the world, the whole thing. We own the conference room. Well, you need to do the same thing with Zoom. So you position your camera where it is, and so you can look at people, and you use that hand raise strategically, and you share your wins in the chat. like you say, just wrapped up that project. Happy to share the insights if anyone's interested. Okay. You put that in the team chat. So you master the Zoom. And then the third thing I want to leave with you to deal with this particular trend is you build your digital presence. So your work needs to be visible even when you're not. And having a digital presence helps you do that. And it helps, keep your status update and share quick wins on the channels. And you can do some end of the week impact updates that you share. So remember to use and master that digital presence. And so I want to see if anyone has any other tips that, if you do, put them in the chat, that really help you when you want to master that virtual. Okay, so we're at trend number 3. We did that. We're moving on to trend number 4, because again, being visible is great, but not if it comes at the cost of burning yourself out. Now, many of you may not have thought about this trend, but I want you to listen to me now. Trend number 4 that I want to bring to you is that work-life balance is no longer a perk. It's really a competitive edge. Dr. Geneva, what you talking about? Do y'all remember when asking for flexibility meant risking your career? I do. Those days are over though. In fact, you can now negotiate flexible time and how you can use your time, because many companies realize that they lose top talent due to burnout. And they're also spending millions on wellness programs. But those of us over 50 really never ask for this and for this consideration. And the quality of life is making a difference now. So you see how it's a double thing. We who are over 50, that work balance, that quality of life, that purpose, having time to pursue our passions, all of that becomes much more important. And now, at the same time, companies are interested in our well-being. And so we can match and negotiate this and use this trend to our advantage. Well, how do we do it? First of all, you got to know your worth. The experience that you bring, you need to be able to talk about how you can get more done in less time, and you can solve problems faster, and you can make fewer rookie mistakes. And translation of to that, you've earned the right to work smarter, not longer. And so you need to understand that, and then you need to be able to negotiate like a pro. And when you're talking about some flexible arrangements, stop asking for it like they were favors. Start offering solutions, things like, Mr. and Ms. Boss, I can deliver better results with a 4-day schedule. My best strategic thinking happens when I work from home 2 days. Or let me show you, Mr. and Mrs. Boss, how I can increase my productivity with flexible hours. So you understand the mind shift that I want you to take, that you ain't asking for no favors no more. You're going to be negotiating your experience, okay? And so that it fits into this flexible work schedule. Do you understand? So it's a trend. Companies and organizations are more and more interested in your well-being. You are interested in your well-being more and more. So use it. You got it? Okay. So I really want you to do that and to get this staying late at work, while your joy suffers and all that. We've all been there. I know I used to do it, and I came up in the time where your value was based on how early you made it into the office and how late you stayed. We used to watch, we used to look around to see, who could see us still working, after 5. Them days is over. Okay. Use your experience, use the fact that companies are interested more and more in how you doing, how you feeling, your well-being, and use it to your advantage. So, okay. So that's the fourth trend. But I promised you a bonus one, and this one might be the most exciting of all. And that trend is the rise of the 50 plus entrepreneur. Mhm. So let me share something that might be surprising to you. Remember that 25-year-old we talked about who maybe just launched a startup, or who you saw or who you read about? They have a 20% chance of success. But you, as a 50-year older and plus, 50, 60, 70-year older, your success rate is double that. That's what the statistics tell us. That if we're over 50, we have twice as much an opportunity to succeed. Our success rate is double that. So let me say, and I myself experienced it, because you all know my story. I started my business in my late 60s, when everyone was telling me, "What you doing? Why don't you go sit someplace? Why don't you retire?" But I was a lifelong dream. And so I decided to start my business. And yes, I have been a real successful 6-figure business now. And yes. And I see on IG we have a comment. Yes, the 80s could get like the battlefield. Yes, indeed. That's the truth. But all of that's changed now. And so in my story, like with your story, listen, we can do it, because here's what's really happening. 50% of successful small business owners are over 50. And entrepreneurs age 55 to 64 are twice as likely to succeed. Hey, and get this, 1 in 4 new businesses are started by people our age. So why is this happening now? You have something no young entrepreneur can buy: real world experience. You understand people, not just products. You've built networks that took decades and take somebody just starting out or younger decades to develop. And most importantly, you know the difference between a trend and a real opportunity, because you've been there, you've seen it. And so here's how you can take advantage of that. Know your business. The knowledge business is so important. You've solved problems for 20 plus 20, 30 years. People will pay you to consult in your industry, to coach the next generation, to create courses sharing your expertise. That's the kind of thing I do. Problem solving businesses. Remember all those workplace headaches and issues you fixed? Turn them now into business solutions or professional services or consulting. And the passion projects that pay, remember the things that you've always loved doing? People will now pay for those specialized services, those custom products, that expert guidance. If you love to cook, go on out there and, open your bakery or your coffee shop. One of my uh, friends, Chauncey, who was an HR executive as we were coming along, used to give me just some fabulous help in as I ran nonprofit organizations. He mid 60s, HR executive, and he thought his career was winding down, that it was over. But instead, you know what he did? He stepped out there and started an HR consulting firm. And he happened to land three Fortune 500 clients in his first 6 months. And now he makes more than his old corporate salary working 20 hours less per week. Now, uh, people are paying for his expertise and everything else, his experience that he brings to the table. So, have you ever, anybody thought about starting their own business? Drop a yes in the chat. I'm going to be talking about that more and more because I'm getting more and more people are asking me, well, how did you start? And particularly over 50, it's too late and all of that. And so, I want to have some conversations about that and give you those tips and techniques because you really can do it. And so let's wrap that up. I saw Dr. Pierre had a comment. Uh, yes, life lessons. It's all about life lessons and using that and seeing our life experiences. And yes, LinkedIn user, yes, yes, yes. I'm glad you put that in the comments. You thinking about starting a business? Fantastic. And for those of you who are particularly interested in starting a business or career changes, I'm will be a guest with AARP in March. And we're going to be talking about this. It'll be nationally available. You'll be able to see it. So stay tuned. I'll have information. And Chris says, great. Oh, she decided to start grant writing business this month. So I'm assuming that you've had probably years writing grants for somebody, some organization, some company, what have you, and you've decided to take that expertise. Is that what it is? Or it may be that you've got some great writing skills, that you use some great AI search tools, and you've been able to put all that together so that you have this business. Congratulations. Mwah! I wish the best to you. So, okay, so I want to wrap up what all of this means and why it really matters. One, the future doesn't belong to the young, it belongs to those of us who can adapt. Your experience isn't outdated, it's your greatest asset. Technology is not your enemy. Stop thinking that. It's your amplifier, it enhances. And I've gotten several requests on um, helping folk, doing some videos about some conversations about AI for beginners or AI for baby boomers or what have you, which if you're interested in that, just put yes in the chat that you'd like me to do that because I can. But we can use tech so much easy. I mean, let me tell you, we can use it because we can adapt. Work-life balance, more and more we're seeing it. It isn't a privilege. It's the thing for you to ask for, demand, and get. And guess what? Companies and organizations are right there with you these days, different than it used to be. And doing your own thing, starting your own business, it really isn't a risk. It's playing to your strengths. And again, we know that those who are in midlife have twice as much a success rate, twice as much a chance to be successful than those who are younger. All right. So I just love it. I want you to remember that. Listen, grab my 11 future ready career moves for 50 plus professionals. It's a checklist. It's in the link below, or it's a QR code. Um, on we got it, yeah, we got it on the screen. It's a checklist that I put together as I was putting together the information for this video. I said, let me put together this tool because, I know so much about it and I've done it myself. I've experienced. I said, let me put a checklist together. Get this checklist. It's a step by step. You go through it. It's an action plan for each of the trends we talked about and others. And it gives you ideas about how you can negotiate what you're worth and a roadmap for you. Just check it off. No sign up. It's just a free Google Doc for you, a free resource that I'd like you to take advantage of. And so the best time for us to take control of our career um, might have been, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, we might say. But the second best time is right now. We can do this. So thank you all for joining. It's so great to see you, everyone who came in. I hope I said hello to everyone. Hey, Sally, how you doing? Whoever I haven't said hello to, I just want to do. Good to see you. Yes, and Chris, thanks for being with you. And again, Chris, good luck in that business. I'm loving it. I love writing. I figured it was that. Okay. That you love that writing. So you go on and do it. Think about blogging as well. There's a lot of things that you can do uh, to really go into your next, to do something different, your passion. I see all my friends on TikTok. Thank you for joining. I'm going to say hello to all of you who are here. Thank you so much. Listen, that's what I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to say goodbye. And I will see you. Thank you. Thank you, Private Chair Lady over there on IG. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining. Love you all. I'll be here. Oh, thank you. Over on TikTok, I just got a badge and one of the, again, here's those things we can do. A year or two ago, I didn't know. I couldn't even spell TikTok right. I kept asking, how you spell it? And that's just for dancing, which it is not. But I had to learn the technology, just like being with you here. I had to learn this technology, um, just recently. And you can too. We can learn it. We got it because, if we're in midlife, we know how to adapt. We know how to be flexible. We know how to make it work. All right, enough said. Mwah, love y'all. See you later. Go grab that free Google Doc on the checklist, 11 ways that you can make career moves. You don't have to sign up. It's free. You just go on and click it and download it. See y'all. Bye.